They did assault her, they did starve her, they did restrain her, they did torture her, and they did kill her.
Today, a judge sentenced an Airway Heights woman for abusing and killing her 8-year-old adopted daughter. How long she'll spend behind bars coming up.
Our foggy pattern finally comes to an end, but it comes with rain as temperatures climb heading into the weekend.
Isn't it cool to have a Seahawks house, a themed house, versus, say, a regular house? It just makes it a lot more fun.
With just 2 days until the Super Bowl, we visit one fellow couple who goes all out for the Seahawks. Good evening. Thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5. I'm Sydney Schofield. Mark has the night off. Today, a judge sentenced an Airway Heights woman for abusing and killing her 8-year-old adopted daughter. Mandy Miller will now spend 32 years in prison. Prosecutors say Miller and her boyfriend repeatedly tortured and abused the girl before her death in 2022. Authorities say the two then transported her body across state lines in a rented U-Haul. Police arrested them in South Dakota later that year. KREM 2's chief journalist Amanda Rowley was in the courtroom for Mandy Miller's sentencing this morning.
32 years in prison is the maximum sentence the judge could impose for Mandy Miller's conviction. In a courtroom full of emotion, the judge heard from family members who spoke through tears about the loss of 8-year-old Mila.
I forgive you, and Jesus Christ loves you. And I pray this never happens to another child.
Anger and heartbreak hung in the air as Mandy Miller faced a judge for her part in the torture and killing of her 8-year-old adopted daughter. During the sentencing, prosecutors reminded the court of the gravity of the crimes she pleaded guilty to.
It was defendant and her co-defendant who, after killing Mila, drove her from Spokane to South Dakota in that U-Haul. She and her co-defendant assaulted Mila, starved Mila, and tied Mila to her bed in a car seat.
Photos and memories of Mila are what her family now cling to.
Tortured to the point of starvation and exhaustion, and you did this with no remorse. Murdering my third child, my beautiful daughter, Mila Rose Miller, named after our sister, Amelia Rose Miller.
Miller read a statement describing her difficult childhood in foster care, briefly acknowledging what she had done to Mila.
My daughter did not deserve any abuse or neglect from me, and she most definitely didn't deserve any abuse from Alex.
The judge decided on the maximum sentence for Miller of 32 years in prison.
As a parent, this is the worst crime a person could commit against their own child, their adopted child.
Prosecutors said Miller's guilty plea led to today's sentencing, sparing a trial and bringing finality for Mila's family.
Miller's boyfriend is expected to be sentenced on Tuesday. He pleaded guilty to murder, assault, and unlawful imprisonment charges as part of a plea deal, one that takes life in prison off the table. Reporting from the Spokane County Courthouse, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
New this afternoon, Spokane police released a person of interest from custody after a double homicide in North Spokane. Police say 2 men were shot and killed in an apartment complex Wednesday night. SPD says that additional evidence suggests the shooting was an isolated incident. No one is in custody. This is a developing story, and we will continue to update you both online and on air as information becomes available. Okay, let's take a break from the headlines and turn our attention to the forecast. Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo in our Outdoor Weather Center, keeping a close eye on that weekend forecast. It is Friday. It's Super Bowl weekend. All kinds of.
Well, I guess we got. All right. See you, Sydney. Out here on the back patio, it does feel colder than it did 1 hour ago, but temperatures pretty much where they were. 35 degrees is about where we've been all day long, but those clouds are starting to creep back down the hill off in the distance. I can see them moving back down as we speak, so it's very likely that they take back over this evening. Dew point sits right at 34, and that means fog will start to pop up. When your temperature and dew point are within just a few degrees of each other, that's when you're in the fog realm, especially with calm winds. And winds don't really pick up until our rain starts moving in tomorrow. That rain sits off the coast, and that's what eventually brings about our big change in our overall weather pattern. Rain starts it. Rain moves in tomorrow afternoon. Think early afternoon it starts, gets cranking by the evening, stays that way until Sunday morning when we catch a bit of a break. By Sunday, late morning and midday, rain lifts its way back in. But if you're up in Northeast Washington and North Idaho, you should remain dry. But as I said, it's a big change. Temperatures climb some 10 degrees tomorrow, mid-40s with rain returning in the afternoon, mid-40s again on Sunday, and then sun will come out next week because we're finally getting rid of that ridge and this inversion pattern that's been plaguing us for most of January.
Jeremy, thank you. As the search continues for the mother of Today's Show co-host Savannah Guthrie, the Guthrie family released a second video message pleading for a way to communicate with those who may have taken her. CBS's Andres Gutierrez is closely following this case and brings us the latest from Tucson, Arizona.
A day after confirming that blood found outside Nancy Guthrie's Tucson home belonged to her, the Pima County Sheriff tells CBS News that investigators are awaiting more test results.
Hopefully the DNA or fingerprints might show us something.
It's been 6 days since the mother of Today's Show co-host Savannah Guthrie disappeared. In a video released Thursday, Nancy's son said the family is waiting to hear from her potential kidnappers.
We need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom.
Investigators are still trying to determine if a ransom note sent to a few media outlets is legitimate. The FBI says it included a demand for Bitcoin and contained 2 different deadlines, one of which has passed and the next is set for Monday. Investigators have also laid out a detailed timeline of the events that led up to Nancy Guthrie's apparent abduction Sunday morning. At 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects. At 2:12, the software detects movement, possibly a person, but it was not recorded. And then at 2:28, Nancy's pacemaker app disconnects from her phone. The sheriff tells CBS News investigators are reviewing hundreds of vehicles and their movements in and out of the area during that time in question.
We know that at some point in time, maybe we'll get a camera that's, here's her home, and the camera 5 doors down says, here's a car. What if we want to find out, well, where'd that car go?
The FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to Nancy Guthrie's safe return or the arrest of anyone involved in her disappearance. Andres Gutierrez, CBS News, Tucson, Arizona.
Much more to cover here on KREM 2 News at 5 o'clock. Maybe you've seen it. It's the unofficial landmark in Adams County showcasing their love for the Seahawks. We're going to get you that video there. It's not just love for the Super Bowl weekend. It's love for the Seahawks all year round. We've got details coming up. And with the Super Bowl just days away, we'll tell you how fans here in the Inland Northwest are showing their love for the Hawks. We'll be right back.